Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Ill Informers podcast. I'm Elliot, and I'm here with Nash and Darren.
Hello.
I've been to the park two times this week, and they've been the same. I took my son, and he's 3, and it's been these same 2 boys, and they're dressed so nicely, and my son has been in like pajamas.
Is that's fine. That's pajamas is chill. Pajamas is only Fernwood worthy though. So you're like, oh, your kid dressed up.
It was pajama day at school, and I yelled that. I'm like, it's pajama day. I made sure they knew.
You're like, hey son, are you enjoying your pajama day?
Were you getting judgment from the other parents? Was that?
I don't know.
That's a big thing too. Like, there's a lot. Like, your kids aren't in school yet, but when you start packing lunches for school, you're like, oh, I can't put bear paws in there. What are the other kids? Carrot sticks.
Well, I don't put bear paws in my kids' lunch. I'm not an animal.
What were you wearing? I think that's important. Because if you're also wearing pajamas, then a judgment granted.
I was wearing my pajamas. It was like a G-string. That's why I wear as pajamas.
Yeah, just a banana hammock, smoking a cigarette.
Elliot just wears a t-shirt and nothing else. A very short crop top t-shirt.
I wear a man's shirt, like a size medium, and it just goes down to my knees, and it feels good.
Yeah. A nightie. He wears a nightie. I like that.
A little nightie. It says you're a little special.
Free ball underneath.
That's good for you. I like that.
Is something wrong?
No, it's all good. I'm just checking. Sure.
Yeah, they were obviously in grade school, and then my son is still in preschool. So I feel like preschool, just let him wear whatever he wants. He doesn't have to be fashionable yet, you know. But I felt like guilt not like dressing him up.
Well, it's weird because the core, not to be weird, but the core root of dressing good is to attract a mate. So like when kids are like looking, not that I think kids look good, but when kids are well dressed, you're like, this is.
Yeah.
Like, why is that kid so sexy?
Why is that suit fitted? Like, who's this for?
That is true.
Cute little sailor uniform or something.
I don't think it's just a mate. It's also like you want to instill jealousy in other people.
Yeah, it's a status thing. Yeah. So you can be at the top, so you can fuck. That's what it's about.
That's the
fuck other couples.
Yeah.
You just Elliot just slides his card on the bench and to the other parents. When you guys want to swing, we'll chip in for a babysitter. And
yeah,
I think that's you don't know that yet, Nash, that feeling of like there is hard judgment from other parents, and whether that comes from internally from yourself or actually legit from other parents, it's there. Like, there's all that's going. You're like, Elliot's walking around screaming, I'm a good parent, I swear I'm a good parent. He's just wearing his pajama day.
I look like a child, but I'm actually very responsible.
Well, my son doesn't shut up, and he's just like, and I'm just like, I want to tell him to be quiet, but like he's just like, I'm three. Did you guys hear me? I'm 3. Did you guys know that? And then they're just like, but everybody was just laughing, so it's good.
Right, he's killing it.
He's funnier than me.
You were just jealous of that. You're like, fuck.
He's so natural. He's like a natural funny guy, and like I'm gonna bite his style, and he won't even know what's happening.
Elliot running around at the next open mic, going, I'm 26. That
would kill.
What's your son's favorite ride at the playground? It's not a ride. What's your?
Oh, he likes that slide ride.
What do you call that? Equipment? What do you call?
I don't know.
Plaything?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right either. Section? No.
Playground, but the equipment on there they're kind of like rides, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think structure.
Monkey bars.
Which play structure?
Play structure. That sounds like. Could you
Soviet.
Could you do?
Please enjoy the play structure. That was French, but
we have good boulder.
Could you do monkey bars now?
We only have one slide.
No, he's 3.
Why are you pointing at me? I can't do them. I'm too heavy now.
Those thighs. You can do them upside down though.
My own gravity.
Yeah.
You can do thigh by thigh.
My shoulder strength ratio is not adequate for survival from any sort of hanging danger.
just bend the whole structure in on itself.
Monkey bars aren't made for adult humans though. Like we're not made for it. Like, have you tried it recently?
I have. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah,
because you're supposed to be 30 pounds when you do that, or 50 pounds. You can't do it as a
no. I can
220-pound man.
I dislocated both my shoulders last time I tried to do the monkey bars.
You just laid face down in the parking lot, screaming into gravel.
Yeah.
Honey, it happened again. Help!
That wasn't the ride I remember. Yeah, I can do them, but they're not as fun as they used to be because you used to be so light. You're like a little monkey boy.
And go one, like skip one too.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
Skip 3.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's also hard too because
that's such a big dick. Like weighs me down.
Yeah,
I didn't have that big dick when I was young. You know,
I did, but
you had my big dick.
No,
weight and pubic hair.
Because they're so short, you have to bend your knees. At least for me, with my thigh ratio, it fucks up the balance. Because you can't hang straight down because it's too short, unless you're at some weird.
Yeah, you can't hang down. You can't just hang down like you're an adult who hangs down, doesn't touch the doesn't even come close.
We had to buy a special couch so Elliot's feet wouldn't be dangling.
And I appreciate it. This is actually a optical illusion. You know, like those rooms where like the couch is. This side is actually
Elliot
way
is closer.
Smaller.
They filmed like Lord of the Rings. So
he's
they
1
filmed
foot
The Hobbit. That microphone's actually 3 times as big as our microphones. And those headphones, are tiny.
They're so tiny. It's special equipment for a special boy, you know?
That'd be hilarious.
You were making soup?
I was making soup. I was making soup. I cleaned out the freezer.
You coward.
And what I did is I went into the freezer. I had 2 freezers at home. This is very exciting for me.
Quit bragging.
Cleaned out the freezers. Anything that I couldn't identify.
Do you have a deep freeze and then a regular freezer in your fridge? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's 1 freezer and a deep freeze.
Mine's a half a freeze.
You got a half.
You got a half freeze. It's not even a full freeze.
Oh no, I got a full deep freeze.
Jeez.
But anything
you can keep nuggets and burgers in there.
Oh, nuggets and burgers, and then also fish fingers. Highliner.
I have to put half the chicken strips in the freezer, and I have to cook the other half. I can't have the full box. Doesn't fit in my freezer.
You're like, you just go shopping. You're like, well, what have we got? What did you get? This stuff's got to be frozen. We need to eat it all now. In the oven. Cook it.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep the freezer stuff for later. No,
I pulled everything out, and everything that was unidentifiable, I put in a giant bowl, and I'm going to cook it and make soup.
So you got fish fingers.
I have no idea.
M&M meatballs.
It's gonna be.
You are the weird food family, aren't you? It's gonna be the stinkiest smell. Like what do you got so far? Did you check?
There was a ham bone in there.
Just the bone, no ham.
No ham. No, must have been from an Easter in 2016. There was
vintage ham bone.
That's what it's called, vintage ham bone soup.
There's a bunch of there's some
retro
stuff.
It's been in there
shrimp.
so long, it's retro now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. There was also some. I boiled a bunch of shrimp heads. What I got spot prawns, and then all the juice from that I froze, and so I could put that in.
Oh my god!
There's. You guys want to come over for dinner?
What else? Come on.
There's also what I do. Is,
there should be a challenge where we have to eat the soup.
Yeah, your poor children.
The thing is everyone in my house is wise.
Ham bone and shrimp head soup tonight, boys.
Yeehaw!
The kids are wise to my game now. They won't eat it anymore. So I'm like, I know I'm making this soup, and everyone in my household has been like, you have to finish all that soup because none of us are going to eat it.
Can't you just throw it out?
I could, but I like a challenge.
How much money are you? That's true. That's actually culinarily, like, this could work.
Yeah. I will.
If you knew how to do this.
This does sound like those crappy cooking shows where they like get these pastry chefs and like, okay, your ingredients today are vintage ham bone and shrimp heads. Good luck. And they're like, this tastes awful. And they're like, I know, I'm a pastry chef. I don't do shrimp heads.
Well, I think what I'll do is I'm gonna make it, and if it is god awful, I probably will save it. And then when I go into the freezer 3 or 4 years from now, I'll be like,
to make the next soup.
It's like that. There's street food where they've used the same boiling water.
Oh, yeah.
For 100 years. They've kept it boiling. They've never changed the water. They just keep adding ingredients.
Or like a sourdough starter that's 300 years old. Like that's.
You're like, this is awful. Let's freeze this. And it's like when you brew coffee using coffee, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
I'll bring some for the podcast next week. You guys can try some.
I would love to not try that. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
No, bring some, and then we can.
We can all puke while we're on the screen.
I've always wanted to have diarrhea on camera.
I've never been more glad to have allergies Because I can just be like, no, thank you.
You're probably fine. There's nothing in there that you're allergic to.
Yeah.
Wink.
There's definitely nothing good in it, so
there is some other.
So you could probably eat it.
There is some other meat stuff in there. Oh, and there's going to be beets and cabbage that I grew in the garden 2 years ago that I froze because I was told you could freeze it. So I chopped it up. It's going to kind of be like a borscht.
Darren, I don't want to offend you. This sounds horrific.
You know what?
But I'll try it.
Okay,
sure.
This sounds like something a peasant makes on like the last day of famine.
Yeah. Then there was some
like they're like at the wits end. They haven't eaten in a month.
Look at all this. Look at all this sawdust in the wall. We're just gonna throw this out. Let's throw it in the soup. Come on.
It's perfectly good. It's aged sawdust.
It might be. It feels like that's what happens with food. Culinarily, like poor people food becomes rich people food.
And the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This is what they bring as a meal to the people they're about to murder.
So the murder doesn't seem so bad. They're like, give me death.
Yeah, they're like, would you like this soup or would you like to be murdered? You're like, I guess murder is the better choice.
Listen, guys, is existence really that great with stuff like this? Probably not.
I don't know. We'll see. Let's leave it there. We'll move on from my awesome soup recipe.
Maybe we should all make freezer soups. I got stuff in my freezer.
Nash, do you have a freezer?
We all make. I got bone broth in my freezer.
I think there's bone broth in it too.
Good bone broth. We make freezer soups. See who had the best freezer soup.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Let's move on to a new subject.
Okay,
I'll do that. Just trying to think what I have in my freezer.
Well,
that's where I keep on.
Do you have prawn heads?
I've got
because if not, you lose. You lose.
It's not prawn heads. It's prawn head juice.
That's where I keep all my magic mushrooms. So you guys are gonna have the greatest time.
I did find mushrooms in my magic mushrooms in my freezer too.
I got some ginger in there. I got some peas and
some beans. You got any muggle mushrooms? Those are just regular mushrooms.
Oh, great.
Oh, muggle mushrooms.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for Freezer Soup, episode 196.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but I forget what it was.
I was going to just bring up playgrounds again, if I can, for 1 minute.
We don't want you to bring up playgrounds again.
Darren's just upset because he can't walk within 50 meters of a playground anymore.
Do you guys remember monkey bars?
Oh, strong shoulders you got there, Sonny.
Once in a bathrobe, and I didn't know it wasn't tied. That's all. Once.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Darren.
There's a playground in England.
I'm sure there is.
This better be so good. What are you going to say?
But the playground is just... They said kids. There's too much supervision with kids and too much like safety regulations. So they just said
it's just nails.
Yeah, that's what they did. Basically, they've got a playground and it's just baseball bats, pieces of wood. The kids are allowed to go in there, light fires, and build shit and do whatever. You can follow. I'll post the video to it in the chat.
Didn't Portland do this like a little recently?
I think Esquimal's got a playground like that. I think.
Yeah, it's
the trackside.
It's where the Carlton used to be. They bulldozed it, but they're like, that's good for the kids' brains because they go in there and they get to play with fire and they learn about danger and they get to build shit. And they do have supervisors in the playground because it's very dangerous, but they don't really interfere with anything. Like when the kids are,
they're just there.
They also have attack dogs, so he gets really out of line. They always have a safety attack dog. Safety attack dog, yeah. He has a safety vest.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Clipboard.
I do see like
a little paw with a pen.
I do see sometimes I see parents. No, I'm not judging, but it'd be like, because boys, obviously you guys know boys are probably fucking nuts. But they're just like, no, don't do that. No, put that down. Nope, do that. Just everything the kid does, they're just like,
that's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be it's your anxiety. It's just like you're a helicopter parent. You know, they're so dumb.
Yeah.
Like my son will do anything. Like. Because he doesn't know any consequences yet.
Yeah, but the philosophy is like
I try my hardest. I just look away.
Yeah,
that's what I do. I just ignore him.
That's good parenting advice from Elliot. What do you do?
That's what you
just look away.
You either helicopter parent. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it as he's getting older. But
how old is he? Oh, he's 3, right?
Yeah, he still requires
jump
a lot
right off the top of the
supervision.
playground, just like full on jump, and you're like, you can't do that yet.
You're allowed.
You don't got those knees.
You get
yet.
6 gimme concussions before you're.
Darren's at 7, everybody.
Dun 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 dun.
Before you're 6. Yeah, and then that's fine. So you're allowed to you're allowed to dummy yourself off the playground onto the slide. That's fine. You get a do-over for that.
I think it's dependent. Yeah, you don't want to be a helicopter parent because they need to have consequences, but you can't. You don't want fatal consequences.
No, but your kids if they touch this, like you tell them, you want to let them know and you want to like educate them. The stove's hot, but they will invariably go up and touch the stove and burn themselves. And it's like that is a lesson that you cannot teach them.
And then you push their hand down on it.
Legally burn them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just hold their hand on it. Like, does that feel good?
Yeah.
Was that a smart decision?
Yeah.
Dad!
Yeah.
Hear that? That's the sound of consequences.
Now you get the fish head soup.
No. Shrimp head special.
We're chopping your hand off and we're putting it in the soup.
I'm gonna regret bringing up soup. But I do like
Good.
You're like, let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah. Hear
That's
that?
a consequence.
That's a consequence. Yeah.
We're helicopter podcasters.
I do remember, like, I was a latchkey kid, which I don't think is a thing anymore. Is it still a thing?
Kids don't go outside anymore.
Yeah.
They're on TikTok.
Yeah, right. So they don't, because there's so much. My parents both worked, so they just go home and you'd have a string around your neck with the house key on it, and then you'd just like nearly burn down the house and you'd do whatever.
Making hot pockets.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I played outside all the time. Like, we lived in like a rural Shawnigan Lake, which was like probably similar to how like you grew up. And there was just kids. Kids went outside every single day, and you would ride your bikes. You go through the forest. It's like a nice path, and you'd be outside every day.
Yeah.
And then you would go inside and you'd play 3 hours of video games, but you'd still spend 2 hours outside.
My favorite memories growing up, we used to play guns. We called it guns.
Yeah.
Where we just basically play GoldenEye outside. We'd hide guns, and then we'd all start, and then we would you go bang, and if you basically whoever saw it, you go you shoot them, and then they'd be dead. Last one, then there's a winner. That's so fun. The house I grew up in was like the best for it, and there's a side forest, and you could like hide in trees.
Build forts. Did you get some old lumber and hammer together some shitty...
Did some forts, yeah.
Fort that would never pass code.
There was this forest like right.
I don't, guys. I don't think that this passes code.
Excuse me, you can't have a fixture that close to a doorway.
This outlet is not verified. The wattage is way off.
Yeah, there was basically there was this forest like by our place.
This sunroof is not
the code. What kind of caulking did you use on this?
The weather stripping is not going to hold up, man. I tell you that. Sorry to bring the momentum down.
No, I was just trying to think of more. I just don't know enough about house inspections.
There is black mold everywhere.
That's why you get all the wood, though. It's black mold.
Yeah, it's wood. Black mold wood.
You guys installed black mold wood from the get-go. I don't think that was very wise.
But I think it's funny that you play guns. Mm-hmm. Because we used to do that too. There was a bird sanctuary, go in the forest Saturday afternoon, play guns for like 4 or 5 hours. And then I don't know what your policy is, Elliot, as your son gets older, but I know my sister would be like, my kids aren't allowed guns. And she's got 2 boys, but it doesn't matter because they're like, anything is a gun.
We already have
Nerf guns. When you're a 6-year-old kid, you're just like, here. They just use everything as guns, and she's like,
good gun noise.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Thank you. I've been practicing.
Not good. That was great.
Yeah.
Do it again.
What about?
This is the PP, like the silence PP7.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It makes sense that you're better at the silencers.
Yeah, because I'm like a silent killer when I go on stage, and like fucking, people like, I don't think this guy's gonna.
Everybody's silent, and you think you're killing. Is that?
Shit! I set myself up.
I think more awkward than. Oh!
This forest that I grew up in, though, I went back and they totally clear cut it.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
But when you're a kid too, like that forest might have legitimately been the size of this room.
A metaphor for your?
It's true.
I grew up and they cut down my childhood.
Well, no, I think it's a good exercise, and it was already technically gone because I'm not going to go back and play in that forest. But now that it's physically gone, it's interesting that feels different.
You wouldn't take mushrooms and just play in there and just frolic, catch some lizards, for old time's sake?
Yeah, maybe. Catch a lizard too.
I remember we used to play. I used to live in like a low income housing and in like a complex, and it was so much fun. That was like the funnest. I think every kid should live in like a low income complex, even if you're rich.
That's what I've done for my children, but not on purpose. It just happened that way.
Dude, it's so much funner. Like it's so much better than like where we are now, where there's like kids are so spread out.
Yeah.
Like we would
every day's like the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is.
People have like soot all over their face, like they just like clean chimneys, and you're like, what are you up to?
We live in like a 15-unit complex, and it is like Lord of the Flies out there in the summer. Like the groups of kids from like 5 to 12 all play together, and there's just shit everywhere and toys and guns. That's all they do. Nerf bullets.
Oh yeah.
Just covering the and we've got a playground in the complex, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I have a problem with Nerf guns. Is that I always aim for the eye, even with my son. I've always been an eye aimer because like when I play with my brothers,
headshot, headshot.
I'm so good at it. Like I don't know why. I'm just like naturally so good at shooting eyes. It's like I just see that bullseye from the iris and like in the pupil, and I'm just like boom, and I do it with my son, and I'm like I can't do that.
Do you give him safety goggles?
No, I just shoot him in the eye. You should have been better.
Should have blinked.
Because I have like 4 brothers, and the only part that would hurt with a Nerf gun is the eye. Yeah. So you always go for it.
What? And where are you in the brothers?
I'm middle.
Middle. Okay.
It's the worst spot to be because you get bullied from the top ones, and then they protect the little ones from you, so you can't even pass the bullying on.
That's true. Are you
until you have children?
Until you have children,
then you bully your children.
Shoot your eye out, kid.
Are your siblings also a little petite? No offense.
No.
They're not.
They're all. I'm the shortest and the lightest.
It's technically
none
the
of them,
runt of the litter.
I am the runt.
The middle runt.
I am the runt and the grunt.
Well, I'm just wondering because that plays into dynamics of siblings, I imagine.
That's
why I'm assuming you're good at aiming for the vulnerable spots, like the eyes, because you have to be very efficient.
I'm good at 2 things: shooting people with Nerf guns in the eye and headbutts.
Yeah, headbutts to groin.
Headbutts. When you're a small kid, the headbutt is the best weapon you have. I never felt anything because your brother could pick you up and hold you and do whatever, right? And you just
cradle you and rock you to sleep.
And
you just headbutt them, you win.
It's true.
There's nothing
Blood
that hurts
squirts
more.
out of her nose.
Yeah, and they're like, "What the fuck was that?" It's like you should have let me go, man.
It's also that's
a lesson on you.
It's a good move, and it's also it implies a lot. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'll use my fucking head to hit you.
Yeah. Full damage. Full.
Yeah. That's like whipping somebody with your dick, and you're like, this guy doesn't care at all. Holy shit, this guy's got no.
That's the head. That's the head I was talking about.
Yeah.
Just turkey slaps all around. Yeah.
I'm a helmet, and you just bam. I learned pretty late in life that I was circumcised. Are you guys circumcised?
I am not circumcised.
Nor am I.
Darren doesn't know, for the record.
I don't know. What does that mean? Did I circumnavigate the globe? I traveled before.
My parents never told me I was circumcised.
You don't really. Yeah, I can
no,
see that
I don't think.
Really
but I went to like a Christian school, and like you didn't talk about dicks.
No.
They showed you dicks.
But like, yeah, whenever I watch porn, everybody's dick looks like mine. I was like, I just have a normal dick.
Yeah,
but you don't think you're missing a part.
No.
But also, uncircumcised dicks, in my vast experience, and circumcised dicks look the same when they're erect.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. That's something you know, I guess. No, I think you're right. Yeah,
depends. It depends the length of the foreskin. Some foreskins are like. Whew.
I've been stretching mine for years.
Yeah, he can
erect, not erect. It can go over my head.
You can fit a tennis ball underneath
it
now.
Sleeping bag.
It's like a sweaty sock. Trying to get a sweaty sock off. So that's the grossest thing I've ever said.
No, that's definitely not the grossest thing you've said. I remember
today.
I think we might have covered this before, but maybe not.
Doesn't matter. Nobody knows.
That's true. I remember having a bath with one of my friends.
No, we didn't cover it.
Last week?
Last week.
Yeah.
Me and Dave were bathing together.
Thursday's bath night.
It was still kind of weird because I think about it, it's like we were probably 10 or 11, and I was at his house having a bath with Patrick. And
is this his dad's idea?
His dad was in there. He had a camera set up. I'm not sure what was going on. But I remember looking at each other's, I'm uncovering. It's like, I was just going to start weeping.
That'd be so funny. We just had a breakthrough. You're like, wait, I was molested?
We just clipped that, put it all over TikTok.
Big 2 million views. And I remember him saying, and he's looking, and he was circumcised. I was uncircumcised. We're like, why are our dongs different? And I remember his brother coming in, and I was like saying, he's like, I don't know, maybe you'll grow into it. Like, that's right. Thank you. So it was odd. Like, we didn't even at that point, I guess neither of us knew what it was, nor did his brother, because they're like, what is that thing hanging off the end of your knob?
I always heard like anteaters and helmets, right?
Yeah.
That's what you heard. Like grade 7, I think I heard the first time I heard that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's just how dicks come. They come in 1 or 2 varieties. Mm-hmm. That's just natural variety. I didn't think it was like, that's cosmetic.
Yeah.
I remember the first time conversation I remember having about this was at a sleepover. And everybody was circumcised except for me and this other guy. And the other guy brought up that he wasn't circumcised, and everybody just made fun of him.
You were like...
And then I just was like... Yeah, weird. I remember being so like self-conscious and ashamed.
You didn't even stand up for that guy. You could have been like, "Yeah, brother, come on."
No,
that's Doc.
I used to be a cow. Yeah, I remember that, and then I remember always like secret brothers.
Yeah. But that is true. That is one of those things. You have 2 of my best friends in grade 11, we all realized we were all not circumcised. And that was, I remember I have this distinct memory of walking down the street. We all pulled our foreskins out and stretched them as long as we could and walked down the street.
Like a little sail.
Yeah. Like a sail. Yeah.
You hopped on a skateboard and yeah.
And foreskin is also,
I think trying to get gum off a table.
The bottom of your shoe. Oh, I do like my dick stepped on. I think it's good.
Do you actually?
No.
I don't like the pain. I don't want pain involved in sex.
Strictly pleasure.
Like biting teeth?
No.
Teeth on a blowjob? Like light teeth?
No.
You ever had that?
I mean, I can imagine.
A blowjob?
Yeah, you ever had a blowjob?
He went to Christian school. Come on.
Yeah, everything but. Right?
Everything but, yeah.
Christian philosophy?
Everything in your butt.
Yeah. Apparently I think it's Mormons.
No, it's not my Christian. That's Catholics.
Because Mormons, I guess, the sin is actually thrusting. So what they'll do is they can insert it, and then they just don't move.
You get one thrust.
That's the loophole.
One thrust.
Really?
Yeah.
The first thrust is 3.
So you get your buddy over there to like shake the bed.
There's supposed to be an earthquake tonight. Let's get.
I think when you're that early in your sexuality, I think one thrust is all you need. Like if I put it in, eventually I'm probably gonna come. That first time.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I bet.
That seems like.
I think you could get going.
I think like once you, and also you have to be pretty strong of faith to put it in and then not start, be compelled to move it. You're like,
yeah, it has a name. I forget what it has a name though. Like
there's like
it's not docking, but it's something similar to that.
So they're allowed, and this is something that is sanctioned.
I don't believe in a helicopter god.
You hypocrite.
I don't think he's watching over us like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad.
Don't move.
Don't move.
Don't move, Jeremy.
You fucking move, you're going to hell, bud. Ah. Okay,
that's a sneeze. That's a good loophole. I never thought of that. You could sneeze.
Just have pepper. Every time he has sex, he just brings a shaker of pepper. Dude. I'm almost there. Oh my god, that would feel so good.
Because you're sneezing
well. That's like a sneeze is like you were saying on the other podcast. A sneeze is like an 1/8 of an orgasm or something like that. Right?
I think like 5 or 6 sneezes. Then apparently, I've never gotten to that point. But every time I sneeze, I'm like, I hope there's 12 more.
What if you sneezed and come at the same time? That's like 1.25% of an orgasm.
Yeah,
oh my god,
even better.
Pepper Bay. I think I'm gonna try that. I might get addicted to pepper.
You're not Mormon, no, Elliot.
Just like have.
I want to try something new, baby.
A white powder under your nose, you have just like black specks.
Yeah, you got your pepper nail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just sneezing all over her face. There we go. That was waiting for it.
Let's clip it.
Okay. I think they could use. They collect all the foreskins from hospitals and use them to repair burns. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because
Using
I think
the whole buffalo.
Why throw away perfectly good?
Yeah, you could put that in soup.
Right next to the placenta.
Yeah.
Placenta foreskin
Soup.
Some of you may have noticed a very special flavor in tonight's soup.
The redness does not come from beets.
What's your kid's name?
Rowan.
Rowan? You recognize anything?
Does it taste a little familiar?
Yeah.
Placenta. You could, yeah.
Call the soup full circle.
The circle of life.
See, you guys laugh, but you could sell that in a very fine restaurant in New York. There are people out there with too much money who would pay thousands of dollars for a bowl of placenta bisque.
I would take dried.
You're the soup guy. I don't know.
I would take dried like placenta pills, but I don't want to eat it. I don't want to taste it.
What were the pills for?
Placenta is very healthy, actually. It has a lot of vitamins and nutrients because it's so blood rich.
You can't just get that elsewhere. They have all the vitamins and nutrients.
There is liver.
Why not? Just,
No, because it has stem cells. It's gonna you don't get the same stem cells. This is like the freshest stem cells.
Do you need the placenta?
You get a 5-year-old child and you harvest the stem cells from them. It's like these are old. These are like
You want some?
this is like a Darren soup.
Do you need the placenta from that you came with, or can you use any old placenta?
You could use any.
Asking for a friend.
You just go. If you find placenta, you can use it.
Yeah. So why don't they just?
Can I have this?
There's a good side hustle.
You done with this?
Finders keepers placenta.
Go to Vic General. Go in the just like Fight Club. Only instead of collecting the fat, you just get the placentas. And
this is pretty gross. This is the grossest episode we've
Darren
had.
digging through a bio-waste bin.
If you haven't thrown up yet listening to this episode, bravo. If you have any gross soup ideas, please email them in at
or what is
the podcast name? The Ill-Informers Podcast at gmail.com.
Or what is
the Ill-Informers at gmail.com.
Sex toys and fuck boys.
We're
changing the name.
We're changing the name, yeah. Say it again.
Sex toys and fuck boys.
Yeah. Yeah, placentas, that's I've seen people eat it like
on
it's
TikTok?
No, people do it though. Like hippie people. Like do home births and then we'll keep it.
I did have a friend of mine who did plant her placenta and then she was Salt Spring Island.
And then grew
weed.
Placentas?
Grew weed on it and she's like, that's the best weed I ever smoked, man. So I don't know. That's something.
Sounds like a big fat lie, but that's okay.
I don't know what that was the best weed? Or that she grew her weed tree on it.
I think if it was bad weed, you wouldn't say.
No.
Thanks, everybody, for watching.
No, we're only at 33 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Shit.
I feel like we've been doing good.
So, Darren, you mentioned last night you were sober. I don't know if we've talked about this. Since January. How's that going?
It's good. I had a week off sobriety because I went with my family out to Souk.
Week off. Yeah. You can just take a week off.
But I thought I'd like.
I'm in Souk.
When in Rome, that's right.
I did 10 Bud Lights.
Fentanyl. I do think that, and I thought, because I usually do that every year. I'll take a month or 2 or 3 off of drinking, and I was like, now I'm just gonna fall off the wagon and I'll be good to go. But as soon as I came back from Souk, I was like, no, I'm gonna stay not drinking. I don't know why, but I feel better.
Oh my gosh. It's a breakthrough.
Not drinking 6 beers every single night.
I will say, for an older gentleman, you're in great shape.
Oh, thank you.
It's not for maybe it is the no alcohol. I don't know if you lost weight on top of that, but there's some people that I'm
feeling less bloated and bleary eyed and I don't know. I think it's good. I think you realize. I think a lot of people had 2020 was such a shit year.
People
what do you mean?
What? Just
what happened?
What happened?
What? Just I think there was something with. Didn't the Red Sox win the World Series? And I'm a Dodgers fan,
I don't watch baseball. Yeah, or I'm going to say basketball.
But I think a lot of people, because it feels like there's a lot of people who are 2021. They're like, wow, I really made a mess of 2020, and I'm going to try to. Get my shit together a little bit.
I think people went one or two ways. They either drank more or drank none. That's how most people went.
For 2020 or 2021?
2021.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2020, they like they like smashed themselves, and then
Yeah.
they either chose like, oh, this is not good, or this is great. Let's keep going.
That's where I went to I need to take some time off, take stock of my existence, and
I thought there was gonna be more of a clean cut, like once everything opened back up. You know, then it's like, yes, finally, let's restart. But now it just feels like I crawled out of a house fire, and I'm just still crawling down the street, but just a little more rested.
yeah, just and because it's still not back to normal. Like it wasn't just like, hey, we're gonna revert to February 2020. It didn't happen like that. There's gonna be a long hangover.
Yeah, well, maybe not. The first is coming up pretty quick. And
1 more week.
Yeah.
Hey, we all got to perform. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
How did it feel for you guys?
I liked it.
It was fun. I was so nervous.
Yeah. I wasn't that nervous. I thought I was gonna like shit. Like usually you get the diarrhea.
Yeah.
I didn't get the diarrhea.
I'm AMS because the last time there was the shutdown, and then we came back. I was the nerves were a problem, and it took quite a while to shake them off and get comfortable on stage again. But this time, I'm totally. Even the Sonora show, I was totally.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I was just engaged with it mentally every day, prepping for it, but I feel like I'm. Is
it because have you not attached anything to it, or you're like, oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter, we're out of a pandemic, fuck, what's the worst that could happen? I bomb and big deal, or is there?
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe working on that comedy walk show thing. Maybe just doing that, being a bit more vulnerable in that situation and uncomfortable in that helps. I don't know. I felt like the nerves didn't seem to be maybe they should. I don't know if that's a good thing, but
I don't think it matters because your sets have been good.
You need a little nerves, but no, nerves aren't better.
Right before I went on, I was like, okay, but then I'm not like in my own head or like the real hindrance of nerves.
Yes, yeah, I find that too. You get up there and I'm like gonna forget everything. Like you kind of start and I've done that before where you just kind of you go up and you're like, where was I? I've lost my place in my mind. And then some people are really good. Like I think the more you perform, becomes less of an issue because you can kind of tack it around. But being so like new to it again, it's just like I go into full on panic and I'll just slam the mic.
Yeah, where you black out because when I'm really nervous, I'll kind of black out. But if I'm not, I can be very present. Which last night I felt. Yeah, I could look at people and be like, as opposed to like,
I felt the most calm on stage the last two shows. Like even the first show back, I was like, I'm feel so calm. I feel so much better than before. I don't know why. I guess I care less about it. I guess like I don't need it as much. Well, I've lived without it for so long that I don't need it to be my identity anymore.
Right.
I want it to be my identity, but I don't need it. When I first started stand up, I needed it so bad. I was like, I need to be funny. I have to be funny. Like I need this. But now I'm like, I don't need it.
Well,
I want it. It feels great. I don't need it.
Is it because you think you went without it for so long?
I don't know. I've also been like meditating. I think that helps a lot. You just like helps you stay in the moment. Because my anxiety was always like, I'm 17 moves down the line trying to figure out if this happens, then what happens here? Like who likes me? Who doesn't like me?
I don't like you.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't care. I'm in the moment.
Oh wow! Look at this. It's working.
You don't have to like me. We can still do a podcast together though. Come on. Yeah. So I feel more in the moment.
No, that's good.
Am I the one being fired? You can't tell me I'm the one being fired. Come on.
I think
I didn't make the soup.
I think what's happening is
I didn't make the soup.
I think what's happening is I'm quitting. No, I think that's the blessings of. I think what I've realized, like with my little experience with music and comedy, is that I just like performing and being present in the performance. That's the juice that I'm finding.
Well, I think
most enjoyable.
You have to be in that one show. That's what I learned a couple years ago, and I'm trying to get there. It's like there's only this show. There's no other show. Well, you could be booked for a future show. That's not the show. You get this one show. These are the people. If they're shitty, they're shitty. If they're good, they're good. You gotta just enjoy it. That's it. That's the experience.
Also talking to Quincy about it, who had said that was a good philosophy where Quincy's just like, you need to, like, you still have to do well and perform and be dedicated to that show that you're in, but he's like, you need to also have other shows that no show matters in a way as well. So you just go up and this is what I do and this is my thing, and And if you guys don't like it, or I bomb or I eat shit or whatever, then that's fine because I'm gonna go out and do this the next night or next week or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think the key is to be like, this is. I remember seeing one guy at the Mint, the older guy, this older guy.
This is
Darren
everything
Miller?
and this is nothing.
No, definitely not that guy. I hate that guy.
He has never told me any good words, wise words.
He's got some, yeah. But I just remember him being like super present, and it felt like we were in his house. Like he took control of the room.
I want to know who it is now. Tell me off air.
No, older guy. He had like a drink. He was like kind of old school. He was probably in his 50s or 60s.
Was he the guy from? He's from back east. He was just there for.
I think so.
Yeah, I know who it is, and the name escapes me. But
he was very like present, and he was like. It just felt like we were in his house.
But you know why? Because if it's the same guy, he's like a 30-year comic, and he's been doing this since like 1978.
Yeah.
That he's traveled all over. He's like.
That was the one
good.
note I just wrote down. I was like, make it feel like it's your house.
Yeah.
You're hosting.
Like you know all these people.
Yeah, like, hey guys, what's up? Because if you're comfortable and it's your house, then everybody's like, oh, he's got me. It's that. I think that all the struggle in the beginning. I'm still in the beginning, but it's all about. If you're nervous, they can tell right away. Like this guy does not have it.
Even if you have jokes, if you're up there like super unsure, that the audience gets very nervous for you, and that's not a good space to perform in, unless that's your character. But also, even people who are pretend nervous, you can still tell there's like, oh, you know what you're doing.
Or a punchline doesn't hit, and then they're like, oh, okay. But if you just do it and then just move on, like nobody cares.
Elliot, I should say, I don't know what that's like, but.
What, a punchline?
No, a punchline not hitting. I wanted you to be more cocky there, Elliot.
I'm so sorry about this.
I've never not had a punchline hit that I wanted to hit. When a punchline of mine doesn't hit, I intended it to do that. It's a throwaway punchline. It's a distractor so that I can hit them with a harder one right after, you know? It's like a decoy. Have you ever had a decoy? You guys, you probably don't know, but you have decoy punchlines that are like, it's like you set up the rhythm of the comedy of the joke, but the punchline's not actually supposed to be the punchline, and then you hit them with the punchline.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, you guys don't learn about comedy. It's fine. You guys won't grow as comedians.
I was saying to Nash earlier, too, I think it helps that I've given up on all my dreams, that you just go out and you just have fun performing, too.
Just keep performing so you don't shoot up your work or anything.
You know,
I work at home.
Yeah.
You'll read about it. Murder-suicide.
You can put all that frustration into that soup.
I mean, yeah.
At
least you're killing somewhere.
Whoa!
I wish I had that slide whistle.
Yeah. It's been fun. I enjoy stand-up so much. I like drove home last night, and it was just like a sunset. I'm like, this is good. I want to be in this pocket. That's but nice. It won't last long.
I found immediately that first show back, I was like, oh, I forgot about... It's crazy how rose-colored glasses... It's so romanticized. I'm like, oh, this is actually really tedious to like, oh, I'm 8th on the show. I have to sit here, say hi to everybody, like laugh and like prep. And then I get nervous. So I have to pee 8 times. And I'm like, okay, like I just keep urinating and waiting and getting nervous. And
that should be like, your album name, Urinating and Waiting.
And then just watching the, whoever's, hosting's not really keeping the room up. And then I'm like, oh God, okay, all right. And then...
And then when you get home, you're so hungry. You're like, oh, I gotta eat so much.
And then I regretfully eat some, crappy
bags of
tacos,
chips,
at the place. I'm like, I shouldn't have spent $20.
I don't have that money. I'm poor.
Yeah.
But
every time you get, you're so guilted into like spending money there, and you're like, I don't have any money. This is what I'm trying to do. This.
I was digging around in my wallet. I was like, I had water, and I got a bag of hot beans today.
He begs his soup to his restaurant.
Darren, what are you eating? That smells awful. What? Shrimp heads.
Part seal.
Get your shrimp heads. Shrimp heads here.
I'm always bad
the nutrients are.
For celebrating too. Like if it's a good, a not bad set, I'm like, I'll get tacos. I deserve some all dressed chips on the way home. That's my downfall. These bad boys.
That's
because
all goes straight.
I always eat something I'm allergic to, and then it all goes. Then I don't sleep, and then I wake up the next day like, oh.
I also find that the worst though now is especially doubly coming out of COVID and not really having tons of.
Don't point at me with your pinky.
I'm very fancy.
Your pepper pinky.
I hold the mic.
I'm gonna do that from you there. Hey, who's got two pinkies and loves eating pussy? This guy.
Is that your new bit?
Finger. Pinky fingers.
That should be your opener.
Is coming out of COVID.
That might be funny, actually. Okay.
Work on bits later. I'm trying to open up to you guys.
Sorry.
Well, I made lots of.
Sorry, Darren, you're sad. Okay, continue.
It's just
your tears might season your soup.
Is being out of COVID and having to go in and seeing so many people again, not being used to it. Like that's a lot of like.
I'm better.
There was
I'm
like 10 people, and you're like, who do I talk to? And then was that a weird interaction? And then and then how to leave at the and turning around, there's a group of people talking. I'm like, they're not looking at me, but I'm like, by God, I'm just gonna walk away. I guess I don't know what to do.
I feel like I'm almost not antisocial anymore. I'm okay with it now.
Of being antisocial?
No, I'm being social.
Yeah.
I'm not antisocial anymore. I'm social.
That's okay.
Elliot's now part of the National Socialist Party.
I've left my autism behind. I'm off the spectrum. I've moved on.
Are you just happy to be out and see people again in person?
No, because I could be happy before. I could be happy to see people and still not want to talk to them at all.
That sounds like somebody who's not happy. I could be happy. Before I could be happy.
Well, it's different when you have anxiety, like social
That's
anxiety.
true.
It's not your choice. You just think too much,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, there's a million ways a conversation could go bad, and your brain thinks of every single one of them.
Yeah, I've been very blessed not to have to struggle with any of that.
Yeah, you did go home and start parsing together every interaction you had the other night?
No, I don't care.
Good.
I did, and I wrote it all down. For you.
Yeah, I like that when you go to someone, you say, and then have to apologize to them, and they have no recollection. They're like, you're like, I'm sorry, I said this thing the other night, and I feel like maybe it was weird, and they're like, what are you talking? No, now you're being weird.
If I create an enemy, like on this podcast, then that's just going to be a story 10 years from now of like them on a podcast bad-mouthing me, and then I can bad-mouth them, and then that's just a story.
You want to start a beef?
No, I don't want to start a beef. If a beef starts, it starts.
I'll put it in my stew. What you want?
I got a beef bone.
My soup? Darren Miller
I'm not trying to start anything, but I'm not going to be afraid to just say stuff.
Yeah,
you should be.
There's about 7 things I got to message Nash about editing later that Elliot said. I'm like,
I'm not actually recording his mic.
That's probably for the best.
That's great. Excellent. No, it's good to be back. There's lots of shows.
This podcast loses half of his laughs if there's no my mic. Okay, you guys are 2/4.
So we go from 2 laughs to 1. That's not bad.
We can edit stuff in later. We can just do voiceover, dub in what we wish Elliot had said.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We appreciate it. You can email us in at illinformers@gmail.com. I think that's the email. You can DM us.
Weird?
Follow us on all the social media at Illinformers Podcast. We want to hear.
Blow it.
We want to hear the worst things you've ever eaten and how disgusting they were. Anything you want to email us, we'll talk about on this podcast. We want more engagement with you, our listeners, the 12 of you. We really appreciate you listening.
Tune in for Hambone Week next week.
The Hambone.
3rd week in July.
It's like
June.
It's like
Hambone Week.
It's like Shark Week.
Yeah, we'll do the soup off. Thank you so much for listening.